All right, so I'll run through what we're going to do today. We've got this building, the roof all drains to one point over here, and we're going to catch the water before it hits the ground and build a rain garden that will buffer all that runoff from the roof before it drains into the bushland. A question which I always get, and I'll cover early, is like, isn't the runoff from the roof clean? And of course it is cleaner than runoff from roads and a lot of other surfaces, but as soon as we put any hard surface like a roof into the environment, it does collect pollutants from the atmosphere, including a lot of nitrogen. And then there'll be less, but there still will be sediments and things that are deposited on the roof as well, and that run off roofs. So the rain garden's going to sit over here, and it's going to collect the water from the roof and it acts like a bit of a sponge to soak it up. But also the plants and the soil in there will filter the pollutants out of that rainwater, slow it down before it drains out. So at the top, there'll be just an inlet from this pipe that comes around into the rain garden. And so that's fairly straightforward. We'll cut the pipe in the middle somewhere and bring water in. At the bottom, we'll put this slotted pipe into the bottom of the rain garden. So water that flows through the rain garden will be collected in a slotted pipe at the bottom and drain out a hole in the end of the box. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this up with gravel enough to cover the pipe and then flatten off the gravel. Over the gravel, we'll put about just a 50 ml layer of the coarse sand. And then we should have room for about 350 mils of the finer sand. And we'll flatten off each of those layers. And the idea is just that the coarse sand stops the fine sand from trickling through, the gravel stops the coarse sand from trickling through, and we don't lose this material through the pipe at the bottom.
So yeah, we've got a selection of plants that are all local to this area, provided to us by the Blue Mountains Conservation Society nursery. So I've selected just a whole range, and we'll see what works and what doesn't. Because of the location of this particular garden, we can keep an eye on it and replace things if the plants that I've chosen today don't like the conditions. But generally, as Alexa said, I've got some grasses. There's a wallaby grass and a poa, two species of native grasses, which are all they're the common grasses that you can see around us. And then in the middle here we've got some shrubs. So there's Bauer rubioides, so the river rose, and Philotheca, and then a Prostanthera, so one of the mint bushes. And I just chose them because they're nice, fairly compact shrubs. The Prostanthera will probably need to be pruned a fair bit if it decides to take off. And then around the edges we've got some other grasses. So this is Libertia paniculata, and we've got some Dianella, and the Grevillea laurifolia. I got it right, Keith. I've got two of those. They're a ground cover, so a trailing ground cover, and hopefully they'll extend over the surface but also spill over the edges. And then up the end here, last but not least, we've got some little native violets and some little ferns. So this we think will probably be a wetter end of the garden, so I've just put them there because they might like it a little bit wetter.
This rain garden is quite large because it's a large roof area, but it needn't be such a large thing. If you've got a smaller roof, you can build a smaller rain garden. It could be built in a smaller planter box. This is built in a brand new planter box we've bought for this project, but it could also be something repurposed. Anything that you can build a garden bed in, you could build a rain garden in. I mean, any rain garden, even a large one, water may sometimes overflow. If we get a really big storm event, water will run off the roof much faster than it can soak through this soil. And so even when we've got quite a large rain garden, it's important to have the overflow so that when it does keep raining and raining really heavily, all that water has somewhere to go. So instead of just pouring over the side, it can overflow here. So we've finished this rain garden, and what it's going to do is it's going to take the runoff from the roof here and slow it down, soak up some of the water and take out some of the pollutants in that water before any excess runoff ends up flowing down into the bush downstream.